Who made America a super economic power? The 5 names that changed the direction of the world. Imagine 19th century America. Dust-filled tracks, steam-emitting trains, oil-shining factories, and the echo of deals inside banking halls. The country is still young, becoming politically stronger, but economically scattered. Then a few names emerge who don't just do business, they change the direction of the entire system. Today, when the world is debating America President Donald Trump's tariff policies, and there is turbulence in global trade, Indian industrialist 𝐟𝐨𝐿 Agarwal raises a question. Who made America, America? Is it just a story of politics? Or were there entrepreneurs behind it who built the entire economic architecture? In his Facebook post, 𝐟𝐨𝐿 Agarwal mentioned the History Channel series, The Men Who Built America. He wrote that out of thousands of entrepreneurs in the 19th century, only 5 laid the foundation of modern America. These 5 names are Cornelius Vanderbilt, Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, and Henry Ford. They were not just rich men. They were system builders. They reshaped core sectors like infrastructure, steel, oil, banking, and automobile. And these very sectors pushed America ahead in the race of the Industrial Revolution. Today, America's nominal GDP is considered to be between $30 to $31 trillion. It is the largest economy in the world, but it was not built overnight. Behind it is a story of decades of industrial expansion, capital formation, technology adoption, and financial consolidation. And at the center of this story, the same 5 names appear again and again. Cornelius Vanderbilt's beginning was humble. Born in 1794, Vanderbilt started a ferry business in his teenage years. But his real move was gaining control over the transportation network. From shipping to railways, he built an empire. The New York Central Railroad came under his control. In that era, railways were not just transport, they were the economic bloodstream. The rail network carried raw materials to factories and finished goods to markets. Vanderbilt consolidated fragmented rail lines. Efficiency increased. America's internal trade accelerated. This infrastructure became the backbone of future industrial growth. Andrew Carnegie's story is an example of immigrant success. Coming from Scotland, Carnegie created a revolution in the steel industry. By the end of the 19th century, steel became the base of bridges, rail tracks, and skyscrapers. Carnegie Steel Company was so efficient that production costs reduced dramatically. In 1901, when he sold his company to J.P. Morgan, the deal was about $480 million. For that time, it was unimaginable wealth. But Carnegie's legacy was not just industry, it was philanthropy. He built more than 2,500 libraries. Institutions like Carnegie Mellon University were part of his vision. His belief was, the man who dies rich dies disgraced. Meaning wealth must ultimately return to society. The moment you hear the name John D. Rockefeller, Standard Oil comes to mind. Started in 1870, the company dominated the oil refining sector. Rockefeller adopted the model of vertical integration and cost efficiency. Transport, refining, distribution, everything under control. At one time, Standard Oil controlled 90% of America's oil refining. Critics called him a monopoly, and in 1911 the Supreme Court broke Standard Oil. But even after that breakup, Rockefeller's wealth and diversified holdings increased. He is considered the first billionaire in modern history. Through his philanthropy, institutions like the University of Chicago and Rockefeller Foundation were built. His contribution to public health and medical research is still visible today. J.P. Morgan was the architect of finance. In the late 19th and early 20th century, whenever financial panic struck, Morgan organized private rescues. Recall the financial panic of 1907, when the banking system was on the verge of collapse. Morgan called bankers into his library room and organized emergency liquidity. Later, the Federal Reserve System was established after such crises. Morgan played a key role in forming companies like US Steel and General Electric. He consolidated fragmented industries and built national champions. Banking became not just money lending, but a tool of industrial coordination. Henry Ford democratized industry. In 1908, the Model T was launched. But the real revolution was assembly line production. With mass production, cars became affordable. Ford paid workers $5 per day wage, which was considered high at that time. This increased middle-class purchasing power. The consumption cycle accelerated. The automobile industry boosted many sectors: oil, steel, rubber, road construction. Fordism was not just a production technique, it was a socio-economic shift. All 5 shared a common thread: scale and system building. They built individual wealth, but more than that, they created a large industrial ecosystem. America moved from a rural economy to an industrial powerhouse. Urbanization increased. Jobs were created. Infrastructure expanded. Capital markets matured. This cumulative effect took America toward becoming a super economic power. 𝐟𝐨𝐿 Agarwal highlighted another point: philanthropy. These entrepreneurs were not just profit machines. They established universities, hospitals, and research institutes. Behind many of America's top universities lies the contribution of private endowments. Carnegie Libraries, Rockefeller Foundation grants, Vanderbilt University. These are examples that wealth creation and social investment can move together. This model did not remain limited to America. It became the template of modern capitalism. a mix of scale, innovation, consolidation, and philanthropy. But there is another side to the story. Monopoly, labor disputes, inequality debates. The Gilded Age was called glamorous and controversial. Workers' movements happened. Antitrust laws were formed. The system evolved. Entrepreneurs built the system, and the system regulated the entrepreneurs. Today, as America faces trade wars, tariff policies, and global competition, its economic foundation still rests on those very sectors: energy, finance, manufacturing, infrastructure, and innovation. Tech giants like Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon are carrying forward the same tradition: scale, integration, and global dominance. Now the question is about India. Anil Agarwal says that India and America have many similarities. Both are vast countries, with diverse populations and abundant natural resources. India also has a long tradition of entrepreneurship. Marwari traders, Gujarati merchants, South Indian industrialists, Punjabi manufacturers. But do we have that ecosystem which can create impact like five system builders? India's economy is around $3.5 trillion and growing rapidly. There is demographic dividend. The startup ecosystem is booming, but the challenge of scale building, capital formation, and global integration still exists. America's story shows that if visionary entrepreneurs receive a supportive policy environment, they can change the direction of an economy. Anil Agarwal's message is clear. Entrepreneurs should receive respect and support. Regulatory complexity should reduce. With policies like self-certification, compliance burden should decrease. Entrepreneurs should invest their energy in innovation and expansion. Government should facilitate, not obstruct. Society should not look at wealth creators with suspicion, but as nation builders. But it is also necessary that entrepreneurship be inclusive. Participation of women entrepreneurs should increase. Skill development should happen. Infrastructure should improve. Access to capital should become easier. Only then can India produce system builders. America's story also teaches that with wealth creation comes responsibility. Carnegie and Rockefeller built institutions through philanthropy. In modern India too, corporate social responsibility and private philanthropy can play a critical role. In sectors like education, healthcare, and research, private investment can become part of nation building. If we look through a broader economic lens, to become a super economic power requires not just GDP, but institutional depth. Financial markets, innovation ecosystem, skilled workforce, strong infrastructure. These are the pillars. Vanderbilt, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Morgan and Ford strengthened these pillars. Political leadership was supportive, but the driving force was private enterprise. Today, as global supply chains are shifting and geopolitical tensions are rising, India has an opportunity. Manufacturing push, digital economy, renewable energy, infrastructure build-out. These are areas where visionary entrepreneurs can create impact. But long-term thinking is necessary. A quick profit mentality does not build a system. And perhaps this is the core of the story: system thinking. The five names did not build America overnight. It took decades. There were failures. There was criticism. Regulation came. But the foundation became strong. The process of becoming a super economic power is messy, but consistent. So was America made a superpower by politicians, or by scientists, or by entrepreneurs? Perhaps the answer is a mix. But it is undeniable that without these five system builders, America's industrial rise would have been incomplete. Now the question before all of us is, will India produce its own Vanderbilt, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Morgan and Ford? Will we see entrepreneurs not as suspects, but as strategic assets? Will wealth creation and social responsibility move together? Because in the end, nations move ahead where vision and execution meet. Where capital is invested not from fear, but from confidence. Where the system becomes bigger than individuals. America's story is both a warning and an inspiration. And perhaps that is why Anil Agarwal remembered these five names. Because history is not just the past, it is also the blueprint of the future.
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources: news from various news agencies, opinion polls and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.